Hey everybody, hey, how you doing? It's him downstairs at Guerilla Spittn. This is going to be a special episode. I'm going to put this in probably, I think we're on episode 8, or we could be on episode 9, I think. But I think we're going to call this 8.5, okay? Because I got a special guest star. I have ITSRON, and he is a fellow YouTube content creator, musician, artist, streamer, gamer. What else? What full-time comedian? What are you? What else? Well, tell me what else you
A
do.
little bit of everything, man. At this point, a little bit of everything. You got as a content creator, you got to try to do as much as you can to get where you can. That's what I always say.
Yeah, yeah. You can't like you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify. They say that.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
You gotta be like Wu-Tang Financial. You gotta diversify your bonds, nigga. You know, that's like you gotta spread the mustard. Nah, but that's cool. I know I mean, we've known each other for a while, at least about a year and so, and
Yeah. I think it's going on 2, ain't it?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I always say a year and a half. I always try to be exact. Yeah, a year and a half, 2. It's close to 2, because I think because you know what, we started going on one. We won't give him his name or his props, but we started following a mutual guy, and then we followed another. Then we found out he was trash. Then we followed another mutual guy, and then he was kind of, and so he was so. I still watch him. You know what I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about. I still watch him from. Yeah. So
Good
I still.
times.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, and I think it was kind of like we hit it off. We kind of had like a lot of things in common. At least we see things almost, I would say, in the same context or same way, and yeah, it's pretty cool to find when you find somebody who has the same commonalities as you and is able to talk, because some people don't want to do that.
Yeah, especially with our ages. Like, I know a lot of people around my age probably wouldn't be interested in having a conversation with people more around your age, because you're a little bit older than I am.
Yeah. I'm middle aged. I'm like 49, close to I'm close to that point. I'm supposed to.
I ain't want to put you on blast.
Nah, I don't care. I don't give it. I always wrap myself out with it, being old. I always tell everybody, I'm at that point. I'm either supposed to have a sports car, I'm supposed to have like either some young hot girlfriend and then an apartment, but I can't afford all that shit. So I guess I'll just stick at the games for now. We'll see what happens. I'll play them scratches though, so we'll see.
You play them scratches.
Yeah, them scratches. I'll make them like dollar signs. I still don't win shit, but it's cool. It's all right. But anyway, we're gonna like switch gears, and we're gonna go straight to the I'm not saying the grits and gravy, but primarily this whole episode we're gonna be talking about some topics, and every now and we're both gonna collaborate and see what our opinions are. I mean, some of them are gonna be the same because I think like I said, we have similar interests, but we see it from a very different perspective, and it might come, which is fine. It's like it's good to have like-minded individuals, but at the same time, I don't want a clone. I mean, I could not dare have a clone around me. That would get on my fucking nerves. What do you think?
For sure. I completely agree with you, man. I try to find people and keep people around me that they're not just yes men, but also understands. I feel like that's the best way to go about keeping your circle clean.
Yeah. I like I said, I think, like, I'm trying to remember, like, I recall it was that I did something like this. This is before you. Actually, no, I'm lying. I did something after where I was with an individual. I won't mention his name either because he'll probably know this. And he recorded me, and he never put me on. And then what was funny was, I mean, he was giving me praise and stuff, but then all of a sudden he said, "You just talk too much." And I'm like, "Why didn't the fuck you just send me a text and say shut the fuck up, or hey, you talking too much or something?" I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I get it. It's like, God, I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, we'll go to check. Okay, so one of the things I like about summer and every now and then is watching movies, summer movies. But I know, like, with the movies lately, like the last couple years, and it just seems like it's only coming from, like, what is it, Universal, Paramount, well, it's Disney.
I mean, Disney only got one right now. What's that? Little Mermaid? I think it's the best they've put out so far.
Yeah, but it's still under scrutiny, though. It's still gonna flop. The thing is, it's not. It's like, I don't know, because the content creators I watch, they're all like, they don't like anything that, let's say, any type of well, they're particular. I didn't say they don't like anything. They're particular. They have like their heroes, and then they have like their villains. And right now, anything that is considered like Disney is like their biggest villain, because it's got like Marvel, it's got like Lucasfilm, and pretty much, and then there's all these other things. These like, there's like the corporation, there's like the narrative, or they say the message, and that's like from a YouTuber, and he says
I was surprised about Black Adam. I actually thought Black Adam was good. I don't know why.
Yeah, right. And you know what? We're gonna probably talk more on that later, because I thought itself was a good movie. It was a good popcorn flick, but I think there was some little politics behind that, and that kind of. But anyway, we're gonna go on that later. So what we're gonna talk is about two movies that I feel. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, summer movies are pretty good and stuff, and I always figured that there's usually about 8 to 10 or maybe 12 movies out there, or maybe even more now, because I don't really stick to the theater scene as much, and I really don't go watch a movie in the theater unless I feel like, okay, this is something to watch on a theater, because it's it's kind of nostalgic and all that. But anyway, two movies I'm talking about, which I feel is going to be, I would say, film of the summer, and we still got some other films, is Across the Spiderverse and and you heard of that one. That's like the second film from Into the Spider-Verse. You had Into the Spider-Verse, I think a few years back, maybe 3 years back, or 3 or 4 years, maybe 3 years back, and then now you have Across the Spider-Verse, and then another one I don't think you've seen it, and I think we talked about it before, was Transformers, the Rise of the Beast, right?
Yes.
And okay, so I mean, I'm not going to give the whole thing about the Spider-Verse and Transformers. I think you can pretty much watch your own. I'm really not going to go into, let's say, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
No spoiler. I mean, if there's a spoiler, I might say something. I might say spoiler alert or something, but it's Spider-Verse has been out for a couple weeks, so I figured that, and I'm not going to go into too much depth in it, but you saw Spider-Verse, right?
Yes, I've seen Spider-Verse.
Okay, so what did you think? What did you think of the? What did you think of the Spider? What did you think of the movie? Like compare it to the first one. Yeah, compared to the first one. What did you think of it?
Compared to the first one, I don't think it was as good as the first one. If I base it off, when it comes to that movie in particular, just because it drew my attention from the first one because of the soundtrack. That's what drew my attention first, and then the visuals. So for me, if I base it off the soundtrack, the visuals, and then go beyond that, the second one doesn't really compare to the first one.
Okay, all right. So so I guess my feeling was, when I saw it, I actually like the soundtrack on this one, because I'm into that stuff. I'm into that synth. I'm into that ambient type of music, that kind of EDM, electric type. I love that type of music. It's just always sounds. That gets me going. I mean,
don't get me wrong. It was it's a good album.
Yeah.
It's just
Right. And I think for me, the soundtrack, in some ways, you're right. I think when I saw the first one the first time, Into the Spider-Verse, it was just something that you haven't seen. You haven't seen something like that, and so
you can kind of compare it to Black Panther, the first one and the second one to Black Panther.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't watch Black Panther 2. I just refused. I just refused to watch any Marvel movie. I just didn't give a shit. And plus the whole thing with Ironheart and that. Anyway, I ain't gonna talk about that shit. But anyway, but okay. But like when you watch Into the Spider-Verse the first time, you gotta remember the game was out, the Spider-Man game. So that was like pulling a lot of and then Marvel was still like a big titan. So it was kind of like it connected, but it was separate. So it enhanced more about Spider-Man, because he was like, okay, Spider-Man's with Marvel, Tom Holland, got it. And what I'm saying is, and when I'm speaking, and this is to everyone, when I'm speaking about this, I'm only talking about the cinematic universe. I'm not talking about the comic books and all that shit. I understand there's a different. I don't want to go on that. I'm not one of those. I used to be. I'm not one of those into the comic books. I'm just talking about on the big screen. That's it. Okay. Anyway, back to that. What I thought was you had a lot of the, like I said, you had Tom Holland, then you had the video game, so it kind of whetted everybody's appetite. And then when you saw, and it was kind of like Spider-Man was like the underdog compared to the Juggernaut, pun intended, but Juggernaut Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then Sony comes out with Spider-Man, and then they come out with a cartoon. It was like, oh, you just hit him with something different. Not only different, it actually can appeal to a lot of people. Like, you know, some people might think Marvel movies might be too violent, even though whatever, most of them are PG-13, but you know, there is that point of some people may not want their kids to watch it, whereas the Spider-Verse is animated, and then you introduce Miles Morales, which to me is just a 2-bit copycat of Peter Parker. I mean, I know he got his, I mean, yeah, I'm old school, man. I mean, I know he has his own story. I get that, but it's so, which goes into the whole thing with this second movie. I thought was interesting, like the whole dilemma. And I won't go into spoilers, but there's this one thing that they all have to have, you know, in order for them to be a spider person, because you know there's more than just Spider-Man or men.
Yes.
You know, if you know what I'm talking about, they are in that sort of planet or that sort of world where it's all a bunch of whatevers, and so
which everybody already should know, like the multiverse.
Well, they should know. You're right. They should know.
Doing the multiverse
Right. They should know about that. But there's one thing that's significant about it, which makes the whole thing the turning point for Miles Morales. The whole reason why, you know, there was a situation where he was kind of told, hey, you have to do this, and in order for and because he did something wrong, he didn't complete the story or the arc. That was it, the arc. He didn't complete the arc. Somehow he was labeled as, okay, this is bad. So, and you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, like you know what I'm talking about, like what?
It just crossed my mind when you spoke about the how he didn't complete it.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me think, where did the spider come from?
Well, okay. See, now we get into spoilers. Okay, so I'll just say this.
I mean, it's a spoiler, but it's really not a spoiler because even in the movie, they don't even speak on exactly how it came from.
But that's the point. That's the point. Well, no, they kind of explain it a little bit, and actually just. In a way, yes, you're right. No. I mean, they explained it, but they kind of like snuck it under the rug. They kind of snuck it up on us. Basically, there's one point where if you notice at the end of the movie, the person that was supposed to get it didn't get it, and what happened was when they, you know how they said if you change something in time, it sends out repercussions like waves, and then it changes everything else. So because that person wasn't at the right place and right time, this is what happened to that person. So and I know I'm using a lot of conjunctions like this or that, like, oh no, but
trying to avoid giving too much
away. I'm trying to do that, but I felt as the movie, it really, to me, it wasn't really I wouldn't say a movie. It was a movie, but I felt it was a continue, like it was like a part one of if you wanted to say Into the Spider-Verse was like a standalone. It should have just been a standalone, honestly, to me.
I completely agree with that.
And then let's say Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse should have been more. It should have been like Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and then you have Across the Spider-Verse Part 2, and then you have the finale, kind of like what they were like Marvel was trying to do in Infinity War. Like they were trying to have, Infinity War was originally supposed to have 2 episodes, and then you would have Endgame. Okay, no, I'm wrong. The way it was Infinity War, then you had Infinity War, then Endgame. That was kind of like the Part 1, Part 2. Okay. Anyway, so I thought the movie was okay. I thought it was interesting seeing all the other characters. I saw most of it. It looked like more of a Gwen movie instead of Miles Morales, which to me, and I don't know, did that offend you?
The first half.
Did that offend you, or did that?
I wouldn't say it offended me. I felt like it was a waste of time because one, this is a Miles Morales movie. Why are we paying so much attention to her? But I also get like you have to go through transitions to get to the point to where we need to get to in the movie.
Well, I mean, I can agree and disagree. I agree that yes, it was supposed to be Miles Morales movie because when you look at all the advertisements, it's Miles Morales. It's not. You don't see Spider-Gwen. You don't see Ghost Spider. You don't see any. I mean, you see her sprinkled in, right? But when you see the poster, it's like Miles Morales. He's like his afro, everything, the black uniform and all that stuff. It's his movie, right? However, to me, Miles Morales his character is arc, his story is pretty fucking thin. I mean, if you, like I said, that's why I say he's just that's why he's a 2-bit Peter Parker to me, because Peter Parker is much more depth. It's kind of like, I get it, he's poor. I get the whole point of having a superhero, or at least like a role model that that identifies with your urban demographics and stuff. I mean, I know Spike Lee, stupid. Stan Lee was very Stan Lee was he was about that. He wanted to embrace all cultures and stuff. That's why he put in Blade. That's why he put in what's his name, War Machine. It was all those different characters. So yeah, he wanted to have everyone read a comic book and say, hey, I know that's cool. That's someone who represents me. But at the same time, Miles Morales, to me, it was still, to me, a weak character. And not to say that, and I understand that they can do all, you got Marvel, you got money, you can put all that stuff up and beef them up and all that stuff. That's great.
That's why you have to like you said, you have to really take the comic part out of it and just look at it as it's.
Yeah. You're right.
Because
Exactly.
When you start looking at it as a comic book, because we all know, if you're a comic book person, Miles Morales is really just for that community that wants their own Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
But if you just take that out and just make it just the movie, then you'll understand it and it'll complete better. That's why when I watched it, I was like, okay, we got that Spider-Man, but we also got this Spider-Man.
Right.
Now,
right.
If it was to bring it together, I feel like it wouldn't work well.
That's why they're in different universes. That's the whole point. Because and if you understand and like you saw it yourself, like the whole point is all these different spider people, they're all from different universes, so they have this arc where they have to reach in order for them to accept the old line, when with great power comes great responsibility. So they have to reach that point, and so each of them reach that point as a different way, whereas Miles, like in the game, is different from how the movie is, which was, to me, like I said, I'm going to get into spoilers of it, but overall I thought it was okay. I think Gwen, they beefed her up because and this is how I feel, they still want to pump, Gwen as this new adaptation of Spider-Man, and the fact is that they have Spider-Man, great, it's just the company trying to milk more money. Okay, we got Spider-Gwen female, and then there's this controversy that she's supposed to be transgender, which
I'm gonna let you go down that route.
No, no, it's fun. You can say it on this. You can say it on Guerilla Spittn. It's cool. I've been saying is that it's I just think that's kind of like a Hail Mary. They just kind of just threw that shit out there to cause some likes and clicks, Really,
because I didn't even catch it until people started saying it. The same way, I don't want to go off topic, but I don't know if you've seen the Invasions yet, the new.
Oh, I didn't. I'm not watching that. I told you. No, I'm not watching that. I told you. I'm totally banning. Like I said, unless it's from Sony, I will watch it. But anything else is just dog shit to me. Marvel pissed me off to the highest of festivity, and I will not watch anything until they get Robert Downey Jr. back again as fucking Iron Man. I will watch, and I think, we're going off a tangent again, and I think Thor is done. He doesn't want to come back to it.
He's already said his piece.
He said his piece, and he's kind of pissed off with them with that, and I would be too. I didn't even watch Love and Thunder, and I thought it was a waste of. I do not want to watch two actors I like, Hemsworth and Bale, on that pile of dog shit. I just don't want to watch it because that to me is wasted time. So no,
it was really trash.
I
don't want to really get off topic, but the reason why I said it is because there's a part in there where it's like, now instead of Marvel just like going straight overboard and just the woke always they're trying to do it, just throw it in there, like where you can't catch it unless you actually thinking about it. So if you actually go watch that first episode, at least the first episode, you'll see what I'm talking about. But the reason why I say, like, for me, the Gwen Stacy thing was like, okay, I get it, but you're just trying to get that extra little money grab out of it.
Well, it's publicity. It's like President Trump says, any publicity is good good publicity, regardless of good or evil. So I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I get what they're doing, and see, this is the thing that's funny about when they do stuff like that. It's usually some person from the camp that actually made the movie of publicity says, throw some shit out there, some negative stuff, throw out, the LGBTQ stuff, throw that out there, and it's going to get people riled up. And then it's going to cause publicity, because then it's like you shoot it out to, let's say, legacy media, and legacy media is going to shoot it out anyway, but not shoot it in a way that, it's been declared the person is transgender, or or saying that they're transgender, versus, let's say, the right side, or those particular content creators that are always about wanting things to be back the way they used to be. They're the ones who are going to do the most hee-hawing about the shit, you know. So they're gonna be like, oh yeah, oh, I can't believe it, we all knew, now they're saying this person's trans, or this person's this and this. So it's like, yeah, you played yourself, you fell into the trap, you sprung it, and look what you did. Now you're going to talk about it, which, fine, it gets you some income, but now it gets your listeners to listen to it, and now they're gonna watch it because now it's interesting. And so,
but if we're really being honest, honestly, that community they was reaching. They was looking for it.
Yeah, I get it.
They already know that it's in those movies, and they were trying their best to hide that they were looking for it. Because if you really pay attention, you have to really click. You like pause it to catch it.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't see it at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing with remember Lightyear when it came out, right? Lightyear, yes. and the fact was, and I personally believe that it wasn't that one few second kiss that messed up the movie. The movie was just piss poor. It was just like, if you grew up watching Toy Story, and see, this is the thing, I really didn't give a shit about Toy Story. I didn't give a shit about it, but I understand.
I actually like Toy Story.
It was one of those. It's one of those movies I saw and I was like, yeah. And it's not necessarily saying that it's bad. I just wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid like everybody else was. I was like, oh, okay, this is the best shit ever.
When it came out, I was younger. Like I was.
Really and you probably related to him more. I was like, you gotta remember, I think I'm 9 or 10 years older than you, so something like that wouldn't appeal to me. Well, I'm not saying it would appeal. It appealed to a lot of people. So anyway, when Lightyear, I was all into it because I was like, oh, they're gonna make this serious. It might even be darker. The trailer, the first trailer, the intro trailer was awesome when they put that David Bowie, they remixed Starman, and then they made it darker, and then they like, well, oh shit, we know who's coming out of that pit. It's got to be Zurg. It's like you just like, oh, this is gonna be dark, and that's what I was thinking, like, because I even watched the cartoons of Lightyear and Star Command when it came out, and then I was like, oh, okay. And so then when they did so then back to the movie Lightyear, when they did the kiss, I was just like, so it was only a few seconds. I'm like, why? So first of all, I was kind of like on the side that didn't want the kiss. Why are you getting upset about it? It's just a kiss. I get it. It's just that's just the way things are changing and modernizing and stuff. You can't just have
It wasn't overboard.
Yeah, it wasn't over. It wasn't like she put a tongue down her throat, or you know, or show them getting married or some shit. You know, it wasn't like that army commercial like they put out years ago. You know, about two people getting married and then enlisting. No, I don't want to hear that. But it wasn't overboard. So it was like, okay, that's fine. That's okay. So I mean, the movie was piss poor anyway. Okay. So, but yeah, like I said,
wait, so you saying you didn't like it?
No, I didn't. I was just disappointing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because
you enjoyed it.
No,
because it was refreshing for me.
You know, okay. What I'm saying is, for a Pixar movie that has put out The Incredibles, Toy Story, I'm trying to think. Did they do now I gotta look. Now I gotta look on.
Pocahontas.
No. I'm talking about it's Pixar.
Oh,
it's
Pixar.
not. Yeah, Pixar. I gotta look at Pixar movies.
We got Cars.
Okay. They did Cars. Okay, so no, I liked Wall-E. I liked Up. I like Cars.
Oh my god, Up's a really good one.
Yeah. I didn't care for Finding Dory. I just didn't give a shit about that movie. I didn't give a shit about Turning Red. That was bullshit. I didn't care about that. Monsters Inc. or Monsters Universe. Monsters Inc.
Classic.
Monster Inc. Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Ratatouille was good. Who else? I didn't care about Soul. That shit was dumb to me. I was just like, okay. That was the one about the See, that's some.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What about the was it Moe? Wasn't that Moe one of them?
No, that was Disney. That's straight Disney. That was straight Disney. Yeah, that's straight Disney. But Wall-E,
kind of confusing.
No. Well, you got to remember, Pixar kind of stand on its own, and then it was bought by Disney, and then yeah, Disney was like buying everything.
Ants.
They did Brave.
Oh, Brave was a good one.
And then they had Rango. Rango was great. Rango with Johnny Depp. Oh, that was.
I know what you're talking about.
He was the salamander. He was the salamander.
He was the iguana.
Yeah. Okay, iguana. Yeah, iguana. That was so funny, man. I died laughing. I saw Rango by accident. I was like, what the hell is this movie? And I went in the wrong theater, and I was waiting for it, and I saw Rango, and there was only a few kids in there and some adults. Man, I died so hard. My stomach was hurting inside. My guts was hurting for that movie. Anyway, okay. Now we go to the next topic. So we talked about across the Spider-Verse, and so now we're gonna talk about Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Before we do that, you didn't say if you liked it or if you didn't.
No.
Okay, so
I'm not. I don't. Okay, I'll just say it was. I give it a 6. 6 for the soundtrack. I say 6 for the soundtrack. I didn't like the fact. I felt like it was a half-assed story. I felt it was like a video game, and you got you got no DLCs, you got nothing, and then you got to pay for the You didn't get no season pass. You got no DLCs, nothing. It should have been continuation. Like I assumed the next one will be more of the trilogy, but I felt like this one was just a filler to me. And like I said, it was a filler. It was a filler to really introduce Gwen, and Gwen's gonna sooner or later. Gwen's gonna have her standalone film through Sony.
I figured as much. I was thinking the same thing.
Because
I give it a 5.
Okay, to me, the soundtrack has to carry the movie, and I believe it did, especially with all the, especially how it changed from the beginning to the middle, because depending on where he was at, everything changed. I'm trying to think that Spider-Man.
The game was the best one when he was on his way back.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So anyway, we're gonna go to the part 2 of this topic, the best summer movie of the year or whatever. Best movie of summer was Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Now I got a chance to see this one. But
okay. I do have a question I do want to say about
it. So ask me some questions. Yeah.
There was okay. So the first question I have to ask, maybe I should say this now or should I say this towards the end?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and say it. I mean,
right, so I'm just gonna say it. Okay, I heard. I don't know if you told me this or I heard about it or saw it somewhere on social media. Please tell me that Fast and the Furious is not going to be connected to the Transformers.
Oh no! It's gonna be better than that. I can't tell you. It's a spoiler, but no. Okay, okay, man.
There's a cutscene.
It's kind of like in the middle and the tail end, middle to the end of the movie. But no, that's, to be honest, you just invigorated me. No, you just made me hype again, because I remember it was okay, the movie. And like I said, see, my thing is, it's like I have low expectations of films, and so I don't go in there and be like, oh, now when it was, what was it, Infinity War? That like I said, I'm going back to the old Marvel days, but the Infinity War, because we're talking about this type of genre. We talking about Infinity War, that got me. That made me quiet. But anyway, there's one part in there, and and they tell you who they're going to perhaps link up with, which is kind of, like I said, it kind of goes to my whole. It kind of goes with the whole thing with Bumblebee, okay, or the Transformers, or this type of movie, right? Okay, so this is the second movie from the rebooted, not Bayverse, but some of the producers from the Bayverse actually collaborated, and they wanted to make I guess not a continuation of Transformers, but a different slide of the Transformers, some from a 90s perspective. So
none of this has anything to do with the Michael Bay Transformers.
Nothing at all. No Last Night. No Last Night. None of this other bullshit. None of that. No Marky Mark. No, none of him. He's not in it.
So there are new Transformers besides Optimus Prime.
No. You still get You still have the same. Well, you still have the same Transformers. I mean, when you think about Transformers, most of them are Generation 1, maybe Generation 2. True. So they're going to go for what people know, because it's nostalgia that sells, because they know people like me are going to go buy tickets, because we have the income to buy tickets. It's like the kids are the ones who are going to be pulling, hey, I want to go see it, and then it's going to be people like me, like, hey, let's go and watch, go watch the movie, or I'll go watch the movie, whatever. So this one in particular is a part 2 from the first one, which was Bumblebee, and so like I said, you never saw Bumblebee, so it kind of makes this like this whole point, me bringing it up, kind of like, ugh. Because I would want you to see before you see this movie, are you planning to? Okay, first of all, are you planning to see this movie? Are you gonna go see this?
Yes.
Okay, so please, before you do that, yes, you need to see it first because it's
I'll watch Bumblebee.
Right. And to be honest, you really don't need to watch Bumblebee, the first one, because this one has to deal with Beast Wars. If you're a big fan of Beast Wars, then you're gonna like
Beast Wars.
Then you're gonna like this. Yeah, you're definitely gonna like this. See, I didn't watch Beast Wars. I kind of like my my whole thing with Transformers was Transformers ended for me when they made Transformers the movie. I think it was 1986. That was the one where basically they killed everybody in that. They killed almost every single Autobot in that damn thing. Like,
oh wow.
No, because actually there's a little bit of history behind it. Like Hasbro, right? Hasbro was creating the toys for Transformers, right? They buy all these ones from Japan and then they flip the names, change them, and they give them all these different names, right? So anyway, Generation 1 was, kind of lost its luster in sales, so then they had to introduce a new generation of Transformers. So there was some executives or something, or maybe one or whatever, but anyway, this executive, whatever, they planned, well, how do we introduce the new generation and, kind of get rid of the old one? Oh, we'll kill them, right? So they, in Transformers, and this spoiler, because this movie's been out since 86, so I don't give a fuck. So anyway, I watched this movie as a kid in the theater, and I still can't, I can watch it a little bit now, but I could not watch this movie after this scene. There's a horrific.
Is it live animated?
No. It's strictly cartoon. It was just like if you watched a cartoon. So anyway, because they didn't have it was really big. But anyway, so there's this one scene where they kill pretty much all the Generation 1. They kill Ratchet, they kill Prowl, they kill Brawn. I'm trying to think who else they kill. They kill Ironhide.
Dang.
They pretty much they kill Mirage. They kill, I want to say Cliffjumper, but I don't think it's Cliffjumper. I forgot who he was. He was like someone like Brawn. But they kill a lot of Generation 1. And then Optimus Prime died, supposed in the movie. Yeah, he died. And so the trauma, I'm not saying for me, I was fucked up, but I could not watch it because it was just too traumatic for me. There were kids literally being pulled out of their seats crying, especially when Prime died. And the way that he died was just, was so fucked up. It was like, because the way that these robots would die, they have, like, for instance, like Prowl had his Prowl was the Datsun police car, right? So it was cool with him because he looked like a samurai, like a Gundam or something like that. He had like the little doors like wings, and he had the little red little thing, like the little horns and stuff like that. So when these Autobots or whatever got shot, they turn automatically gray. They just burn out. So their life force goes out. Smoke comes out of them. It's really kind of eerie and morbid how they die, and they really did emphasis on that, and then how they killed Ironhide was all like like Ironhide was trying to grab Megatron, and then his leg, and Ironhide was right below Megatron's fusion cannon, and he just blew his head off. I was like, oh my God. He's like, no, you gotta watch, I'm telling you gotta watch this. It was fucked up. It was, as a kid, I couldn't watch that shit. It was just like, I watched it. It was good. It was a good movie. It introduced other characters that you probably see now. Like RC is really big. She's big now because female whatever protagonist. Then you have Springer, Wreck-Gar, Blur, Cup, Hot Rod, Rodimus Prime, and then Galvatron, Scourge, the Sweeps. I'm trying to think who else.
You're a Transformers fan.
Yeah. I'm like Generation 1, Generation 2. Everything else after that, I didn't give a shit anymore. Because after they killed them all, I was like, what the fuck am I watching this for? It was like, and then all the other robots they had, I really wasn't into them. So, but anyway, okay. So back forward to Bumblebee, right? So. What I was expecting out of this Beast War movie and was basically something of Bumblebee. And when I meant of Bumblebee, if, like I said, if you never watch it, I won't give so much away, but there's like this 15-20 minute episode or part of the movie, the beginning, and it deals in basically Cybertron, and it's basically no humans. It's just straight G1, and whoever did this got it fucking right. I think it was Stephen Knight or McKnight or whatever. He did what's that fucker's name? I can't remember that. The slave, and he was a slave, and then he was a gladiator. I can't remember him. And anyway, it was like back then. But anyway, he got it right. He had Mirage with the Mirage had like the glowing when he talked. He didn't have any lips move. He had those little side lights flash up whenever he talked. They had Brawn. They had Ratchet, they had RC, who else? They had Prime, they had Bumblebee, and they even took it, and it was cool because even in the scene, the guy took some of the shots from Transformers the movie, like some stuff that Prime would do, and it was like, oh my god, it was like it was like a Zack Snyder moment, like, oh shit, that was like straight from the comic book, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was expecting more of that, but what I got was more of a Bayverse. Well, I mean, Bumblebee is kind of like that. If you watch the movie, Bumblebee is like the humans got to interact,
I know a lot of people say they don't like the fact that the humans are in it so much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like I get it. It's like this when you watch something like Godzilla, like a Godzilla movie, you have to have that human element. Because in order for Godzilla to be so feared, he has to have, Godzilla is this mighty, gigantic creature, right? And then at the same time, in order for him to be feared, even though he's for good, or he's basically his own, he represents the Earth, you have to have people that fear him and don't understand him. So the human element comes in. That makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas Transformers, the only human interaction they need is basically access to things, or maybe they're gatekeeping them, and a lot of times that's what happens in the movies. It's usually like they understand who the Decepticons are. It's like always the humans kind of know, like there's always this secret organization. We knew who they were before so and so. And then it's some human who doesn't know. He's like you, and just comes in the middle. And then this other person is sort of the smart person. And it's usually the female, which is this.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it was fair. It was okay. I think it was a good popcorn movie. I'm not going to take a Transformers movie literally, like, oh, this shit is amazing, and it's a kid. It's really for the kids. And when you watch stuff like that, you're getting. You're gonna get your fans. See, that's the thing with movies, and I know I'm over talking this, but that's the thing with movies. I understand. You're not trying when you make a movie, let's say like Transformers or Captain America or something like, right? You're not trying to get the fan, because you've already sold the fan. The fan is already gonna watch it. They're gonna critique it if they like it or not. It's trash, but they already got them. They already got that money. Mm-hmm. What you're trying to get is that person who don't watch it. I don't watch Transformers. Why not? Okay, we got to make something palatable or tangible I say palatable, something that you can digest and eat and say, oh, I'll go and watch it. And then you're going to be the one buying tickets. Then you're going to go word of mouth and tell other people. So that's what you're trying to get. So I think sometimes they put that human element because of that. I mean, I might be wrong, but
I also think that they want to also, because once it gets to like the third and the fourth movie, if it does ever get that far, like with Marvel, I think what Marvel messed up is where they got so far ahead to where they thought they had to keep bringing in characters, or not just bringing in characters, but having to keep trying to get us to understand who these characters are, instead of just ride the story. Don't sway away from the story so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and you also have to understand, when you think of Marvel and you think of comic books, it's like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, let's say.
But in comics, when they sway away from the story, it tends to be a whole.
No. I'm not. We're let's just remove the comic element. Just think of the term Marvel. You say Marvel, it's usually masculine. It's male oriented. So when you start, I'm talking, and like I said, we're only talking about the MCU and the like DCU, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you take that masculine or male element out and then put it, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm female bashing, but when you try to replace it with let's say the similar archetype, and then make it like, okay, they're masculine, the female's masculine, like no, because you had like the Fantastic Four, right? You had Reed Richards, you had Sue Richards, and then you had not Johnny Blaze was Ghost Rider, but you had John Storm, you had Sue Storm, John Storm, I think, and then you had shoot, I'm getting messed up. The Thing, right? So you had female characters, but what they would do is now in this sort of cinematic universe, they would overstep their male counterparts, and that's not what you're familiarized with. You're familiarized like, okay, you went with Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four fights as a unit. Like, it's not just, you're trying to make like the guy like Ben, like Reed Richards is supposed to be one of the smartest men on Earth. He's supposed to be toe to toe with Tony Stark.
He ended up being the first person to be taken out.
Right. But then when you watch Doctor Strange 2, that was just like I said, I lost my patience and I lost my faith in them after watching Multiverse of Madness, because what they were trying to do was they're trying to downplay that Wanda wasn't the villain when she was the villain. I mean, she was the villain at the end. It was like they were trying to we don't want to make it like she's the villain. We're just trying to I was like, come on. She was on WandaVision. She was trying to get her kids back. Then she lost the Vision, and then she didn't give a shit about the Vision anymore. She just wanted to go back to a universe where she can get her kids. And it was like,
nothing wrong with that. There's been plenty of moments where a good guy becomes a bad guy and still turn around and becomes a good person.
But as we go into this like society, they want to give no accountability when it comes to, let's say, the female, say protagonist, and then it's justified. She turns there's a reason why she did it. She did it because she wanted to get these kids, and these kids that were never hers to begin with. She just imagined she had fucking kids. That's what even it's like. I don't necessarily just want to say, okay, I'm pissed off because it's Wanda, because I think Wanda is a bad villain. I think Wanda's a great villain. I think you needed to make her a villain, because the way she handled all those people in Civil War and how she handled Infinity War, like, you can't have all that power and just try to be all goody good. And plus,
they do it all the time in X-Men with
Jean Grey. Jean Grey. Yeah. And so this will be something interesting if she is still around, Wanda, because I know, like I said, spoiler alert, I mean, she died, but if somehow she comes back and then they put Jean Grey in it, especially in the new X-Men they're supposed to make, and see if they're gonna toss it up, because that'd be interesting, because that's something I don't mind seeing, because they're both flushed characters who have backstory. It's not like you're trying to make Ironheart like fucking like she could beat Darkseid or Thanos and shit, and she stole whatever, fuck it. Anyway, back to Transformers, right? So like I said, I thought it was okay movie. It was if you watch Transformers, if you watch the Bayverse, it's your typical type of human interaction, little baseless humor joints here. Everyone's sarcastic, everyone is cynical, people are way smarter than they appear to be, that Whitney Houston, I believe the children are the future bullshit, I knew this person was this, and I saw this bird because this bird had a shape here, and I know this can't be this because this is such and such, and then every person that's above 30 is like, fucking Scrooge McDuck, like, I don't want you, no, I'm gonna keep you down.
Why they do that?
Well, because like I said, it's about it. Well, you have to look at it you gotta look at it. They've been doing movies like that all the time. It's the whole point. It's for kids. It's for possible teenagers. It's about rebellion. It's like the young taking over what they know more than what the old guard. The new guard knows more than what the old guard does. Okay, so I won't talk about this as much because I think we did, but like,
give me a rating on it.
So compared to Bumblebee, well, I won't compare it to Bumblebee. Okay, well, I'll compare it to Bumblebee and probably the first Transformers. I think the first Transformers was the first one Bay Universe did was the best out of all the live action. Okay, compared to Bumblebee, I would give it a 4.5. I'd give it a 4. The soundtrack I didn't care about because they used a lot of Wu-Tang, a lot of R&B, a lot of rap.
Oh wow.
You Yeah, which like I said, I like East Coast rap. I mean, I'm from California, but I was into more East Coast rap than anything. Yeah, they were. I give it a 4. I get a 4.25. Because to me it was just the nostalgia was there. Even though Prime was a certified asshole, it was like he was weird. No, he was weird because Prime was kind of like, I don't give a shit about you humans because it's important to get this thing. Like this, what I did like about this movie, the stakes were high, and that's what I like about movies like that. If the stakes aren't really high, then it's kind of like Across the Spiderverse. In some way or another, in any movie where there is a plot twist or an arc that has to be reached, the stakes, the stakes have to be high. They have to be to the point like, okay, this is something that can destroy all of us. Or you didn't see that much in the Across the Spiderverse as much, but the stakes were high in the Transformers, which they're always high in these movies. It's just because if you don't do it, these people, there's a threat. The threat is Unicron, and I've seen in the Unicron, and the Unicron that I saw in this one was he was so milquetoast, man. He was just milquetoast. It was like compared to the Unicron that was in Transformers the movie. You have to see that, the 1986. You see that one, you're scared of him. You're scared. I'm a kid. I was a kid. I was scared of him. I actually still get chills when I see him and hear like Orson Welles, because that was the guy who spoke his voice before I think that was his last thing he did before he died. But he scared me. Even the voice scared me. It's just like I said, that movie, like I said, watch Bumblebee, watch this movie, watch this Beast Wars shit, watch this whatever, and then watch Transformers the movie 1986, and I guarantee you'll look at Transformers from a different perspective, especially G1 and G2. You'll look at them different. You'll look at Bayverse and say, that's some bunch of bullshit. Like, this is some weak.
You gotta send me a link to that or something. So
it's all over. I think you can get it if you have Prime. No pun intended. If you have Prime, Amazon Prime, I think it's available. I even think they did a remaster of it where they just cleaned it up, because it's so old that if you keep playing this cartooning, it kind of has that it kind of looks darker and it doesn't look so clean and all that, where they cleaned it up so it looks good and stuff like that. But yeah.